Good morning, and welcome to Coffee with Fred. I'm your host. Fred Rock Fisher. You betcha. Oh, I can pretend I'm talking into this microphone as if I was on the radio. Our next song that we're going to play comes after this commercial by some tire company and blah, blah, blah. Anyway. So it's Coffee with Fred. I have my MTV mug right here. And before my wife jumps on here, it's actually her mug. But this thing's huge. This is like a Death Star of coffee mugs. This morning I am using the French press. Anybody else out there use a French press? Let's push this down and you can see how nice and frothy the coffee gets right there. And it tastes amazing. So while you're sipping your coffee, let's pour some coffee for myself. Ah, yes. Fresh brewed French pressed coffee. So we want to talk some music stuff, and before we get into my least favorite saying, which is when musicians tell each other less is more, I'll get to that in a moment. While I was preparing for this fine morning, I realized that on November 15th, 2 days ago, it was National Drummer Day. Who knew? And I think it's a great day to celebrate drummers, National Drummer Day, November 15th. And so I thought, well, what other holidays are there? I know there's National Hug a Drummer Day, and that was in October, so I had to Google that. And National Hug a Drummer Day was on October 10th. And being that October 10th is National Hug a Drummer Day, and we're going to have to wait, I just want you to mark it on your calendar, October 10th. And when October 10th comes around, find Jeff Poole, who is another drummer here in town. He is the drummer for the 80s tribute band called Casio Dreams. And he loves hugs. He loves to be a nice, big, squeezy hug for Jeff Poole, okay? Mark it on your calendar, October 10th. And then there's another drummer holiday that's near and dear to my heart. Is November 7th, which is called Sleep with the Drummer Day. So, Mary, mark your calendar for next November. And then the closest next drummer holiday is the month of May is International Drum Month. So, there you go. If you're a drummer, make sure you mark down May as International Drum Month, October 10th, Hug a Drummer Day, November 7th, Sleep with the Drummer Day, and then November 15th is National Drummer Day. Now, if you're any other musician, I don't know if there's any holidays that celebrate you. I don't know. I'm sure there is, but I didn't bother to check it out. So there you go on the drummer holidays. Yes. So if you pop in here... Are my cheeks red? They might be just a little bit. At any rate, so there's this saying that comes around in the musician world where they say less is more. Now, before somebody jumps on here later and tries to give me this long dissertation on what that means, I know what that means. Okay? What they're implying is that they don't want you to overplay. Now, that's not just drummers. That's bass players, piano, guitar, all of that. That you're going to play for the song. Yes. So you're going to play for the song. Now, Neil Peart, drummer for Rush. I'm backwards here, so my favorite drummer ever. He had this this saying that said, "Keep it simple, stupid," which is KISS. And he said, which leads to love. Leave out virtually everything. And what we should be doing is making music. Make up something interesting and complimentary. So, when we're composing parts for songs, they should make sense for the song. They should help move forward what is being said lyrically. And so when I'm writing drum parts and coming up with stuff, I listen for the general tempo of the song, what the groove is going to be, and that helps determine what I'm going to do rhythmically. And I use drum fills to help move the song from section to section. So sometimes playing less is more appropriate because we're playing for the song, but less is never more of something. I think we could all agree that when you have less money in your pocket, it doesn't mean that you have more. No. When you have less coffee, it doesn't mean that you have more coffee. I'm working on making less coffee right now. So anyway, yeah, less is not more. Less might be more appropriate, but I never think that less is more. I think if you're playing less, you create more space in between notes, and sometimes that can make a song feel bigger. But I absolutely, like, in my core, I hate that less is more saying. And what also happens when you tell new musicians who are just learning their instrument, now, as you know, I teach drum lessons. Drummers want to hit things. They enjoy hitting something and it makes a sound. And so you want to keep moving and exploring and making that sound around the drum kit. And it's exciting and fun to do. So younger drummers love to hit things. They love working out different rhythmic patterns that they have learned and to move it around the drum kit, and then to see if they can actually apply those skills as they're moving around. So I think it's really important as part of the learning process and learning the instrument to throw everything at the wall that you can and work out those parts and see if, what's working and what isn't. Again, there's a lot of other dynamics that come into that as far as like listening to what other people are doing and how does your part match that or complement that. So less is not more. Less might be more appropriate. I wish we'd just change that saying. But I think when you tell new musicians, don't do this, don't do this, don't do this, don't do this, they're afraid to explore, and they might get frustrated and discouraged and quit. So let younger musicians explore their instrument, let them figure out what's going on, and as that process is happening, as a teacher, you can help refine those ideas, but never quench not quench, but never put those fires out. I think when somebody's passionate about something, and you got to be careful about how you say critique back to them so that they can take that excitement and focus it more. So there's that. Also, like, playing appropriate for a song. I've been doing these drum covers on Thursdays, except as I said in my last coffee with Fred last Thursday, is that Mary is gone helping her parents in South Carolina, and it looks most likely she won't be back until mid-December. So my drum covers are on hold until my engineer, my producer, returns. But I was sitting with my son Christian the other night, and we were looking at YouTube videos, and he's in the marching arts, of course, very talented in that. And, I'm a drum set player. And so he was showing me some stuff from Santa Clara Vanguard, and then some stuff from Boston Crusaders, and then some other groups, and just looking at what was happening rhythmically and the difficulty of those things. And then we were talking about his experience playing with the groups he's been in. And even in his high school days, like, the drum parts that were written for marching band weren't always complementary to what was happening rhythmically with the rest of the ensemble. And I said, well, check out some of these drum cover videos. So I'll do a drum cover of a song. And after it's done, sometimes I'll go and look and see what other drummers are doing. And I did a cover of Crazy by Seal. And that, along with other songs that are similar to that, they have live drums mixed with programmed drums. So drum machine type things, loops, samples. And when I do a drum cover, I try to take both of those parts and merge them into one playable part. So it's still a really great representation of what the song is and doesn't distract from the song. And I've seen other guys do drum covers of Crazy by Seal, and they're playing all these crazy 16th note triplet drum fills that are completely against this 16th note keyboard bass pattern that's happening in the background. So if you got on a keyboard part mixed with drum stuff going over the top, you just have a mess. It's completely a mess. And those examples are not examples. Those are examples, I guess, of not listening and not thinking about what's happening rhythmically with the song. So I think drummers need to complement, and vice versa, guitar player and bass player and that need to complement each other, that we're not playing conflicting rhythms that are completely colliding and just making a jumbly mess of something. It's a very unfocused sound, and you know, somebody might listen because they want to support you because they think that's cute, but I think to the general listening audience, they can tell that something's not quite right, and they might be quick to check out, you know, on that and not finish watching it. So yeah, this whole less is more approach, I think, is a dangerous game, especially for new musicians who are trying to figure out how to play their instrument and who need that exploratory part of their life to happen. And I keep seeing this weird shadow on my nose that makes it look like I have this big round tennis ball on my face. Anyway, excuse me. So that's all I have for this morning. If you guys are catching this late, you can catch the replay. But remember that those holidays again, May is International Drum Month, and then October 10th, Hug a Drummer Day. Don't forget to mark that on your calendar and hunt down Jeff Poole and hug him, because he loves hugs. My personal favorite again, November 7th, Sleep with the Drummer Day. Now my wife thinks I make these up. I don't. I Googled them. They're there. So that's a legitimate holiday, drummers. November 7th is Sleep with the Drummer Day. So make sure you mark that on your calendar. And then November 15th is National Drummer Day. I mean, there's a lot of reasons to celebrate drummers, so cheers to that. And also, just to remind you that January 20th at the Sapphire Room here in Boise is a really cool, fun show that is scheduled with Cliff Miller at the Sapphire Room, which I'll be drumming for Cliff. We have a ton, I say a ton, like 8 to 10 brand new songs that we're going to debut on that night. So please get your tickets. They're only $20 to $25, depending on where you're sitting in the room. And I believe it only holds, I thought it was 180, but I think Cliff told me 160, and I believe they've sold about 60 tickets so far. So please get your tickets for that. We'd love to see you and hang out. It's really going to be a great show for us. And for those of you who haven't listened to Cliff Miller yet, it's as simple as this. You say, Alexa, play music by Cliff Miller. And then you'll hear Shuffling Songs by Cliff Miller. So I might have just said that and your Alexa is going crazy. I hope it is. Please check out Cliff Miller, cliffmillermusic.com. Cliff Miller Music and Cliff Miller Band on Facebook. Cliff Miller Music on Instagram. We ended up with 2 Facebook pages because we had lost the Cliff Miller Music page. I think it was gone for like 6 weeks or something. We have no idea why. And then, so as soon as Cliff started a second page, the next day the old one reappeared. So we're going to utilize both pages now. thank you for joining for coffee. If you're watching this in the afternoon, have more coffee. I drink coffee all day long, and because I love coffee. So have an amazing day, and we will catch you later.